we went to PAX West and met with the developers at Thunderful. We're going to tell you all about it.
Let's go!
Thunderful, if you're not aware, is the merger of Image and Form, developers of SteamWorld, and Zoink Games, developers of Stick It to the Man and Flipping Death, which we'll have a review for you very soon.
Yes, Flipping Death.
So it's pretty cool. It's two Swedish developers that were like, hey, we're neighbors, we're friends, we keep borrowing developers and designers and QA testers and sugar from each other, so let's move in.
Give me some sugar. I am your neighbor. I don't know that reference.
Nope, but it sounds
some
funny.
people in the chat might. Yeah, they were two friends. They sat down and they had a beer together, and they're like, well, what if we just combine companies? And they did.
Yep.
We got to meet Brian.
Yes.
Of Thunderful. You saw his picture on the little cue card. He was super nice. We met him at the very beginning of the day, just in the hallway, where Scott recognized him, and we shook his hand and talked to him and said, "Hey, we love your games." He's like, "Oh." He was like the happiest, friendliest guy I think I've ever met.
I know, it was awesome. I was like, "Oh, I just recognized you from a video that you did with Nintendo Voice Chat," and he's like, "Oh, you saw me in the hall, and you were like, that is the ugliest man."
I love it. It could only be him.
Yes.
No, it was great to meet him. We also got to talk to him later in the day, just briefly.
Yeah.
And we had an appointment. This was our very first appointment that we made with a developer to stand up and talk with them. We didn't sit down, but we stood on nice cushy carpet.
Yeah, tell that.
That was so nice. You guys have no idea how nice cushy carpet is on knees that have been standing in poorly supporting shoes.
Yes,
and backpacks.
Speaking of that, we are not the only people hurting from PAX. On Twitter, when you're going to an event, it is customary to change your name from showing up as Two Button Crew to Two Button Crew at PAX West.
Right.
And I saw somebody today that finished with PAX West and changed her name to so-and-so at Ow My Back Hurts.
Yes.
But
exactly.
Yeah, Thunderful's booth was huge, and they had
cushy carpet.
Thick old bed carpet.
We're talking about their carpet. They had, this is an indie developer, people.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't been around too terribly long, have they?
No, I think their first game was in 2013.
Yeah. I mean, as obviously Thunderful is new, but
yeah,
Image and Form. And they had 6 games, because they had Flipping Death, which we just beat the night previous to going to PAX. They had the Going Downhill, Lonely Mountains Downhill, which is this bike game where you're going over this terrain and they had a challenge, if you beat the developer's time, you get a prize. You get free shirts and a game, I think.
Yeah. SteamWorld Dig 2 and stuff.
Super cool, yeah. SteamWorld Dig 2 and I think Flipping Death. Or something, I don't know.
Yes, that's right.
They also had a game called Hellfront, which is basically Bomberman, but more fun. And I say Bomberman you guys have seen Bomberman where you place bombs and blow each other up. And it's for versus mode.
It's pronounced Bomberman.
Bomberman.
That's how Philip Mewson said it.
Is it really?
Every time. Bomberman. He probably only read about people's impressions of Bomberman. He didn't watch any YouTube videos and learn how to pronounce it. Yeah.
The hair.
Oh,
Wild
sorry.
hair attacks. I don't think that's your hair.
There's also Anthill, which was playable on an iPad Pro. It's available now and has been available. That was their first game in 2013, but it's coming back to Switch. And I don't know if we shouted out by name yet Paulina, who we met with, but she's so wonderful. And she explained that it is coming to Switch now. It's a mobile game, which will probably work really well on the tablet, but it is going to have a Switch tax, she said, which is what do you do? Yeah. Switch tax is a thing.
You gotta do it. That was the game that Brian was most excited about. He's like, you gotta come to our booth and play Ant Hill.
Really?
Yes. At the very beginning of the day, he's like, you gotta stop by the booth and play Ant Hill.
I don't really get it.
I get the concept. It's not the genre of game that I typically play. It's more of a strategy game. But I sat down and I did have fun with it, and I see how it can be fun. But he was just so excited about it. I think it was his baby.
Yeah.
Like, you can tell that was something that he put a lot of work into. And it shows. And like I said, Hellfront was a lot of fun. SteamWorld Dig 2 was playable, but that's been playable for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if some of these games sound familiar to you, some of them don't, here is maybe why. Thunderful is actually expanding. I thought they were just going to merge, and it was going to be great, and we'd see some announcements from them in a while. But actually, they acquired another company, Rising Star Games, and they formed Thunderful Publishing.
Yeah, so it's like 4 companies.
So they are a publisher now of other indie developers' games, and those are the ones that you talked about.
Yeah, so they're just going to keep growing. Sweden is going to take over the gaming world. I did see in the next room over the Polish. Did you see that?
Yeah, Poland.
Poland, the greatest gaming in Europe, or something like that.
It said, I can tell you because I thought it was kind of funny.
Word for word, say it.
One of the largest gaming industries in Europe.
So it's like you got this Polish-Swedish rivalry going on.
Yep.
It's going to get crazy, but they were so nice. Yeah, I just really, really enjoyed talking with them. Mm-hmm. Getting into the games was kind of difficult because, obviously SteamWorld Dig 2 you could kind of walk up to. Flipping Death had already been released, and so people weren't really lining up for that. But the bike game, the Lonely Mountains Downhill, had a line behind it, and the demo was a little bit long, and so we were like, let's get in line to play it. And then we waited in line for 2 minutes and saw that the person up front was not even close to being done with it, and we're like,
yeah,
we have to get going. So,
but thankfully this is one of the best, nicest, easiest developers to work with.
Yes,
so I'm sure we will get to play these games and bring impressions and reviews to you, because they're very accommodating, and I think that will most likely happen. And with how big their booth was, I was surprised there weren't more setups. That might be something that they refine next year, but most of these games are coming out by the end of the year, so be watching for Thunderful news. Yes,
except for Lonely Mountains Downhill. That is coming out next summer.
Okay.
So we have some time before that one.
Yeah. And
go ahead.
You go ahead.
I was going to say, Glenn, in the comments, you said the Viking invasion has begun. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe there were some Vikings from Sweden. But I thought that the Vikings were Norse, but it could be both.
Yeah.
Might just be a Scandinavian thing.
Oh, I think the hair.
I'm just checking on you. I wanna learn here if that's not quite correct.
Did you take a hair off your face and put it up my nose? Because I am very itchy.
I might have.
I think that looking back, we should have. You know how at PAX you get pins and you get awards and medals and stuff like that. I think that we should have had a TBC award for best awesomest developer to bestow upon Thunderful.
Yes.
Yeah. Because they're
great.
Yeah, and one last funny story is we were going to meet with Paulina, and Brian was like, I need to meet with Paulina for a second. And then we were all standing in an awkward circle, and Brian was like speaking Swedish to her, and she was speaking Swedish back. And that went on for like a solid minute. And then Brian turned to us, and he's like, we are not saying anything. We are just saying blah, 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 blah. It was awesome. And they gave free chocolates and stuff.
Yes, so, there's like free Hershey's right there.
Not enough positive things to say about our friends there. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part of the crew.
Don't forget to become a patron. Like I've already mentioned in the stream, our patrons get access to stuff that you guys don't. Not just our streams when they're put up, but also at certain levels, t-shirt quarterly, a special design of our making, Scott's making. Also, exclusive videos like the Patreon show that we record every single week. And when you become a patron, you get all the Patreon show, all of the past Patreon shows. And trust me, there are ones that are not time sensitive that you want to go back and probably watch that are full of embarrassing stuff that we do.
Like electrocuting Simeon was a recent great one.
I believe that electrocution implies death.
That's okay. It doesn't.
Okay.
See you guys next time.
Signing out. Out.